bedroom. Why do I always say that?
I
Because
don't
I'm
know.
the
Because this is the
I'm a
weather?
lady and I'm need
Ah,
to
you
do the
do
introduction.
the introductions, yes.
Yes.
Today there's no birthday.
No,
No
there is
one.
no
It's
birthday.
no one's birthday.
But it's also nobody's dead.
No, and we're not going to offer anything today.
No.
So you can just
Well, we will.
disconnect.
We are going to offer our opinions.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
We haven't talked about stupid things in a while because
That's
we've been
true.
busy, and we could talk about consent form. That's again in
Is
the
it?
cards. Yes,
Oh,
it
okay.
is. But let's not talk about that.
okay.
I'm tired of that
We
shit.
can talk about that in
Yes, we're
another
going to
day,
talk.
maybe.
Nah,
I love that. It's my favorite subject.
but I don't have anything else new to say. Like, stop
Why?
beating that dead
Why
horse.
is it again?
I don't know. Some idiot brought it back on Twitter.
Okay.
It's the roulette. So we decided to talk about something more interesting that we don't know a lot about. Warhammer.
Yeah, well, that's an excuse.
Yes, I know.
Mostly an excuse because I want to put that down there so people will open the video and then think, well, okay, this is not really about Warhammer 40k, but yes, okay,
It is about
let's start.
Warhammer 40k
Yeah,
a little bit.
that's the reason why.
The beginning.
Of this, yes. So I don't think I need to explain why, but let's do it anyway. After some time, people were already talking about Games Workshop going woke for some time, but suddenly the thing happened. In a small piece of text that they published, there was a reference to female custodians, which wasn't supposed to exist.
The custodians are the Space Marines.
They are
Or
a
they are-
special branch.
That's what the wokes were complaining about. They wanted
Yeah,
female
they're special
custodians
branch.
because they're not supposed to have them.
The kind of bodyguards
Mhm.
of the God Emperor. And then, worse than that, when they were confronted, the social media managers just said, Eurasia was always at war with... Oh, sorry, no, that's not what they said. They said, there has always been female custodians.
Yes.
And that is very 1984 of them.
But I did like the part that apparently Henry Cavill says, I don't want to do this shit anymore.
Which is
About the
perfectly
TV, the TV
normal.
show.
He
He's already been fucked over Witcher.
He did that once, and this is too much. And that's why we are talking about this, because no, we are not interested in Warhammer 40k, not in the least.
Well, I would be if it was a computer game. If I would play
there
computer
are
games. Yes, a role-playing computer
No,
game.
there's
If
none.
I would be
There's none.
playing. I would be
think
interested
they
in
have,
that.
they have some games that are labeled as role-playing
Mhm,
games,
but they're not.
not really.
Why? Because I do like the lore. The bit that I know, it seems interesting.
Yeah, it seems interesting. But, we did play something that is kind of
Mhm.
close to this. It's called Mutant Chronicles. You probably heard about that. Some people call it the poor man's Warhammer 40k because you don't have to spend lots of money to play Mutant Chronicles. But there are also miniatures. Actually, we have some. But these are not expensive.
Are the only ones that we have, actually.
Yeah, because they were already painted. I would never paint a miniature in my life, but there were some. These aren't actually miniatures, at least not in the sense of people who play war games. These are just small plastic things that look like the miniatures, but they are painted, so they look nice. Anyway, that's not really the issue here. The issue here is lore. That's what we're going to talk about.
You're going to call it Lore Wars.
Maybe no. I think I'm going
Warhammer.
to. I think I'm going to call it Warhammer 1984. 1984k.
Okay.
Because that's
yeah.
Sounds good. Okay.
Before, let me interrupt because I don't forget it. On Twitter, there was some asshole that was always saying that the emperor was gender fluid, and he had always been gender fluid.
Of course.
So someone that I guess some of the people that follow our channel know more about Warhammer, so they can say, is the emperor always been gender fluid?
Yeah. Well,
because he's a god,
because
so maybe.
He's a god, so he doesn't have a sex. Yeah. Well, probably he probably was a man when it started.
Yes.
Before he was the god emperor, he was a man. Well, if the other ones are also men and he created them, I'm assuming that he created them from his own genes.
His image, yes.
So it's probably a man as well. Okay, they are all trends. Well, right now everything can happen. The issue here is, okay, so why people would bother about this? Well, because lore is essential. And I think this is important that we talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's important that we talk about this because we are not, I am not, and she is not as well, the kind of people who obsesses about these things.
No.
We do not obsess about lore. I was never one of those guys that can quote every sentence from every phrase, every dialogue from Star Wars or anything like that, or Star Trek or whatever.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Well, I've never even read Lord of the Rings, so I'm an apostate in this. So I'm not really the typical nerd in the gaming hobby. I'm more like a movie nerd. I can quote movies, dialogues, but not everything because that's not how movie nerds work, right? We do not obsess about one specific thing. We obsess about whole genres and movies in general. So it's a different kind of nerdness.
But still, lore is important.
But lore is important because it's the cohesion for if you are immersing yourself in a fictional work, whatever it is, games, movies, role-playing games in this case, or video games, or whatever it is, you need the fictional world to make sense. And the only way to make sense is to have a, let's call it lore, that is always the same. And it doesn't change.
Especially doesn't change retroactively.
Yes, so you can add something to the lore, of course. You can add bits of information, different, in this case, for example, different ages, different factions. You can add new factions, things that were never discussed before. But there's one thing that must have always be in the minds of the creators. It cannot contradict what was done before. That's the basics. Unless there's a reason for
and
that.
that's what's really annoying the nerds is not, well, it's not just because the wokeness in everything is that they are changing. Yes, but they are changing the lore because of wokeness. If they were just inserting some wokeness that was parallel, probably people wouldn't be so pissed off.
No, they didn't. I think
they didn't. They changed the lore on purpose to fit the woke narrative.
I believe they were already introducing some artistic choices like putting black people everywhere and all that. So I don't think they were annoyed by those small details because they're those things are expected. But this is like, okay, this thing that was like a rule and everybody knew about it. No.
In the case of something like Warhammer, well, people, they're not just. I was gonna say it's not just a game for the people that are for the fans. Well, it is, but the lore is important. People are just not just playing with miniatures. They are living the story of the world.
There's a role-playing game.
That's why people spend fortunes in your fucking stupid little toys.
Yeah.
Because of the story behind it.
Yeah, I guess.
So people get pissed off when you change the story.
And then sometimes the wokeists will say, "Oh well, but why do you bother so much? Well, why do you bother so much? Why have you been trying to change the lore in everything that you set your foot in?" Well, I know why. Because they are postmodernists and they told them that everything is a power struggle and they want to exert their own power. This was a power play from the wokeists. What they are expecting this will do, like more women will play because there are women custodes or space marines.
The women that want to play already play. And I was also reading some comments that there were, I think, 4 other, how do you call it? Orders, just, they're the sisters of battle, but there are more orders just for females. So there was never a lack of women in representation in Warhammer.
That's why, but this is, it's always like that. Okay, so you are going to add this thing that includes everybody. No. We want this faction here, that this one must be changed.
It says
to
just
annoy
men.
everybody.
No, it cannot be.
It cannot be. So
it's not inclusive.
That's the real reason. They want to fuck up everything.
Well, they could solve that. That the custodians can all be. They could all be decide to become trans.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen in the future. But yeah, so for example, in the case of our own lore, I would love people to be worried about it.
Yeah, well, we've changed some things, but it's different because we were building the lore while we were publishing the books.
The Wretchedverse was not an established lore for 30 or 40 years. It has been established.
And nobody cares about it.
And nobody cares yet. That's why we can. But I was. But that is the reason I meant to talk about this as well. Even though no one cares, or very small, very small amount of people care about that. I was still worried about not doing stuff that would contradict the logic of everything.
Especially when you're using the different factions in different times.
You
need to change them, but you don't want to make them completely different from what they were.
I tried to maintain...
because lore matters.
Because lore matters. Even for us...
But you're not Games Workshop.
No, I'm not. And I wouldn't. But obviously, if someone told me, this is... okay, so if someone told me, this here doesn't make sense. And if that argument made sense, I'd say, okay, so I can change that. But I wouldn't do that just because it's politically correct or whatever. And they shouldn't as well, because they won't sell more. Because they will sell. Probably they will sell less.
They will sell the same because the nerds are stupid and they'll still buy stuff. Yes, guys, you are stupid. And I have this argument with some of real life friends and colleagues that are obsessed with Star Wars and magic and even when they keep being fucked up by it, but they're still, but I'm going to buy the next thing that's going, but why?
I think Nerd Cognito was talking about this on Twitter, that people...
You cannot help themselves.
People are complaining, but they will still buy stuff. And that is stupid, really. That's the reason. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. You can do that, but you shouldn't.
It's your money, you should do it whatever you want with it. You should buy our stuff. No, I'm joking. But yeah, don't, because then things are never going to...
Buy something else. Spend it in some other silly stuff. The thing is, the moment they do things like this, it will never change. It will never go back. It's not going back. Even if
unless they've really...
Okay, maybe
in some years, if they really lose money, and they're like, okay, we
maybe
need to...
in 10 years or 5 years.
But if you keep buying their stuff, they're not going to change.
Yes, of course. Unless you do something now, it won't change. It probably won't change anyway. I don't really believe these things will go back. They'll probably bury themselves before going back. That's what we're seeing with D&D. Mm-hmm. Well, D&D is going to change into a video game, so that's what's going to happen is that. So the game is going to die anyway, but in a different way. This year, I don't know. But there are other things, for example, Star Wars, I don't really think it will ever go back. They just screwed it all up. What can they do now?
Yeah, it's dead.
Dead. They killed it. And you have to accept it. It's simple. Just accept it. It died. It's not the thing I liked anymore. They killed it and defiled the corpse, and now they are parading it around. But it's not the same thing. It's like we cannot burn it, but Bernie's has a wig, a woman's wig, and a female dress, and it's like we cannot trans Bernie. So that's not really. It's not your thing anymore. It's not your hobby anymore. Whatever it is, Warhammer or D&D, and Star Wars is not Star Wars anymore, and Marvel is not Marvel anymore. They don't exist. Nothing that was touched by the wokeists, it's not the same thing anymore. It doesn't mean that you don't have to. You can still
your
like
old books. Yes, and you can still watch the old films.
Exactly.
And you can still.
The old stuff still exists.
But stop, buying them.
Have fun watching, playing, reading, whatever, the old things, but do not buy the new things, because it will... More than one thing. First thing, you're going to give money to these guys. Second thing, they will keep on doing it because you are still giving them money.
Yeah, they're still selling, so...
This will happen to other hobbies because it works. And you are spending your own money in shit that you will repent having bought.
I see that with role-playing games because I see that a lot of time people saying, "Oh, I bought this game. Oh, it's awful. Oh, it's woke." Well, you should have known that before. Why you keep doing this?
I made the mistake of buying some stuff when I wasn't still aware, and I still probably purchased a couple of things after I was aware because I did check. I was aware, but I didn't know that particular game had been wokeified. It happened, okay? But that's a mistake that you make once or twice, then you stop
Even
it.
with Mutant Chronicles, I think the new Mutant Chronicles, if I remember correctly, there were female
edition.
inquisitors, and I think they're not supposed to be female inquisitors. In the previous, there were
No,
other
I
orders
don't
for
think so.
females.
I don't think so. Well, but that was a long time ago.
I know, but
wasn't
I'm just
even
saying
aware of
that they
Yes,
also
probably,
did
but I'm
that.
not really sure. Were there female inquisitors?
I remember when we played one of adventures, there was a female inquisitor.
So they probably decided to do that. I don't think in the core book that was mentioned.
Yeah, I think maybe
So
it
they
will be the
probably-
adventure that came in the Brotherhood.
Hmm.
Is it Brotherhood? Yes, the Brotherhood book.
Okay, so maybe they changed their mind when they're already, or it could not. It could have been not out of wokeism, but out of
Stupidity and,
yeah,
and
ma-
lack of
maybe
knowledge for the lore.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's also possible that it
I
was-
remember you complained about it at the time.
Oh, okay. I
You
forgot
said,
about
"Oh,
that.
there's a."
Okay, so yeah, well, I don't
And
know.
I wanted to play.
might
You
have
said
been
no, you
wokeism.
cannot play a female inquisitor.
Actually, it wasn't wokeism at the time. It was just political correctness. I think the game was published in 2014. I think. I don't think the name, the expression woke was
Mhm.
used at the time. At least not as a descriptor for this. Well, anyway, where were we? Okay, I don't know. I don't remember.
Buying, giving money to people
Oh
who
yeah,
hate
that's
you.
it. So that's really a bad move. You should probably rethink that and stop that. Just do your own thing if you really need to, because if you feel that whatever it is that you have bought along the years it's not enough, you can do your own stuff. You don't really need to buy anymore. Also because whatever it is that you are buying now, you're not going to use anyway. It's rubbish. It's always rubbish. Just look at D&D and their Radiant Citadels and what. Oh, Radiant Citadel now is
Yes, it's
something. I don't know.
Zionist.
Oh, Zionist. Yes, of course.
I don't know. There's Jews
Of course
writing
not.
it.
Well, I don't. I know.
I don't know
No,
how they
I don't
or
think
how
so.
it's.
It's probably a metaphor for something. I don't know. I have no idea. I just read
Yeah,
about
so
being
that's-
Zionist, but I don't really know why, and I don't care. That again, it's never enough. So they will always wokeify it even more, and it's impossible to truly wokeify something because they will always find something to be annoyed and to ask more.
Be quiet.
She's annoyed about spoiling the lore.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think that's we covered
Mm-hmm.
the main.
I think so. We covered enough. Well, not enough, but the main idea.
And well, since we are talking about lore, I've been the last few days reading about our own lore
Mm-hmm.
because
Did you found any? A
not
lot
too
of
much. No, I
discrepancies
don't think.
there?
I don't think there are. Well,
I'm not
I'm-
talking about.
I'm sure there
errors.
are. I'm sure there are errors. I'm sure there are discrepancies, small ones, nothing major, nothing like okay, the daughters of Xenia. After that, they are men after all. There are sons of Xenia. No, they aren't. The daughters of Xenia are women, and the priests of Zardos are men, and that's final. They won't. There's nothing to be. There's not going to be any changes on that. But I've been reading again the lore because I need it for the Ratchet Armageddon. It will be kind of probably a little bit more important than for the other ones,
Mhm.
because in this case the factions will basically be the game
Mhm.
more than for the others. The factions were just there for a little bit of color. In this case, they will be the game. And I'm thinking about this is again something I'm thinking right for the video. I'm not sure if maybe I will divide this in 2 volumes. Perhaps not physically, but there will be 2 volumes in the book. One for the war, so it will be a Weird War part. If you want to play it during the and I'm going to consider the option.
People probably would like to play the war.
That may be a good choice to physically separate them, so they will be smaller books and less expensive. And so people, if you want to play the war, just the war. In this case, of course, it will be a Weird War with supernatural and paranormal and all those kinds of things. There will be plot hooks for that and the usual thing. New archetypes, new backgrounds, new carousing tables, that kind of thing.
Battle armors.
Battle armors.
Power armors.
Yes, maybe some specific rules for both. So the war will be the first part, and then there's the aftermath when things are not real. Well, so the war part is kind of historical, not historically accurate, but similar to real history, with changes, with things that are not. But the war is happened.
War never changes.
No, war happened. Don't say that. Or it was to start insulting Trump. So the war happens as it happened. So there's an invasion of Poland and blah blah blah, everything else, and it ends with the Japanese surrendering after the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But there's also something else. So there's the
aftermath.
The Seven Seals, sense. And then
that means you have 2 books.
Yes, so maybe, but they will be smaller settings. I think it works.
That's easy.
Probably,
that's better. Yes.
Probably. Okay, so that's it. Announcement. A new announcement to make. We are doing this. As we are doing more videos, maybe we can just discuss the process while we are preparing stuff. Okay, I think this.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Well then, see you around.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.